this is Genevieve Plays Rise of Berk, and this is part 5 of our complete beginner's guide to Rise of Berk. Today we're talking about Brawl and Gauntlet. Okay, so how does Brawl work? If you get to Meat Hall level 4, you have already gone through your tutorial, but basically there is a team of AI dragons. It used to be player versus player, it no longer is. We've been asking them to restore player versus player, but for now it's against a computer, and you have 3 dragons against the computer's 3 dragons. There are 4 classes of fighters. You have Furious Dragons. These are marked in with the color red. These are the strongest attackers. Then you have Protectors. These are your tanks and your healers for the most part. They're not very strong attackers, but they will heal your team and they will endure for a while. Then there are Cunning Dragons. These are marked with purple, and these have abilities which tend to weaken your opponents. And then Swift Dragons are marked in blue, and they recover quickly as far as they get their turn back again faster. They're more likely to evade opponent attacks than the other dragon. And then as you'll see when you first start, it gives you this little wheel. Each class is strongest against another class. So Furious are strongest against Protector, which is strongest against Cunning, and then against Swift and Furious. So it goes in that circle. And so as an early player, it is kind of fun to try to match up and focus using your dragons on whichever opponent it is strongest against. There are more brawl strategies than that, but that is one basic strategy that you can rely on. So when playing the game, the attacks are turn-based. It's not strictly linear. It can range from my 3, then their 3, or it can be 2-2, 1-2-2. It goes back and forth because each class recovers at a different rate. So Swifts are going to have more turns, and Protectors are going to have the least amount of turns. Who goes back and forth is going to change a little bit throughout the brawl because of those recovery rates. Then there are action points. Each attack uses a certain range of action points. The basic attacks cost nothing, but then the middle attacks can cost anywhere, usually 2 to 3 points, and then the ultimate attack can cost 3 to 5 points. And then each turn you gain 1 point. Sometimes there are 2x rounds where you get an additional 2 points, but for the most part you gain 1 point per turn, and so you can save up those points to use an ultimate, or you can ration to go back and forth using 2 and 3 point attacks. Now, the middle attacks that cost 2 or 3 points will tend to either boost an individual dragon or your team, or weaken your opponent or opponent team. What I mean by this is, so a Furious may have a 2-bar move that strengthens themselves, like boosts their strength, or a 3-bar move that strengthens all Furious dragons, or a 2-bar Cunning move will weaken the health of an opponent dragon, like means that they get hurt faster. Or a 3-bar Protector move will heal the team, and then not to leave them out, a 2-bar Swifty move will weaken an opponent dragon by cutting down on their strength. But then the ultimate move, costing 3 to 5 bars, is a bigger move of the same kind. So for example, Hot Burple, which is a weird name, Hot Burple, their 5-bar ultimate will actually put a shield on the entire team. But then the Rumblehorn ultimate only puts a shield on 1 dragon. So it's a bigger version of healing because it heals and then there's a shield. Cloud Jumper also puts a shield on all of the dragons. But then also another common ultimate is for a dragon to have an AoE move, an attack on everyone. So there are a few dragons, especially Furious dragons, that have AoE ultimates. So Champion Whipslash is one, Dagger Skrill is another, Stormcutter is another. So there are dragons like this. There are all sorts of range of attacks, but they generally follow the principles that go along with each class of dragon. As you complete and win brawls, you get token packs. So these packs take anywhere from 3 to 8 to 12 hours to unlock. And then once they're open, you get tokens. You use these tokens to upgrade your dragons. Note, do not upgrade your dragons as soon as the upgrades are available. I mean, early on you can. But basically, you want to keep your dragons at the same grade. I didn't know this until it was too late, so I have dragons I can't use because I have some dragons at grade 16 and other dragons stuck at grade 12. And I've worked hard to get them to 12. Some of them were stuck at 10 and 11 for a while. So the game does not give you tokens at equal rates. It's really frustrating. So if you want to keep your dragons usable, you want to keep them all at the same grade. So at first you're going to have dragons at like 1, 2, 3, and then Meatlug is 5, Toothless is 4, and Stormfly is 6. So as an early game player, you can upgrade them all to 6, and then keep them at 6 until you can get them all to 7, and then until you can get them all to 8, and then until you can get them all to 9. Once you get them all to 9, then you can get Hook Fang. And then do beware of other dragons, because there are some dragons you can unlock that start at 9, 10, 11. I mentioned Hookfang specifically because you use him for other things. But dragons like Sleuther comes in at 10 or 11, and the champion dragons come in at higher levels. So you do want to watch out for that. But otherwise, keep your dragons at the same grade. This is really, really important. This should be at my end of video notice from now on. It will be, now that I've mentioned it. This will be at my end of the video notice. Keep your dragons at the same grade. This is so, so important. Do I need to say it another time? But anyway, besides that, I do have some old videos on Brawl Technique. I want to make some more videos on Brawl Technique, but for the most part, the important thing as an early game player is to play lots of Brawl so you can get to know the different dragons' playing style, as well as, you know, what it's like to be against all the opponents and know what it's like facing off certain opponents. You'll quickly learn that Exotic Whispering Death is frickin' evil, totally evil, Dagger Skrill, evil, and also Wind Shear. Wind Shear is nasty. Oh my god. So do be careful. But anyway, so just get fun and get to know what it's like. As you get trophies, you advance through arenas and you can unlock tokens for different kinds of dragons. And then along the way with each arena, there are champion dragons. Every day, you can unlock 2 chief packs. For every 10 dragons you defeat, you can get a chief pack. These chief packs have like hero tokens and then champion tokens in them. This is how you get champion dragons. The first one is Champion Catastrophic Quaken, and he is my baby. I love him, and I haven't used him in 2 years because he's too low of a grade for me to use. It's so sad. My recommendation is to play enough daily to get the chief packs, at least, and just play to have fun. And keep your eyes peeled for more Brawl strategy guides, because I'm gonna keep making them. Okay, let's talk about gauntlets. So gauntlets are a string of brawls, and there are prizes along the way and then special prizes at the end. And then even as you play, besides the designated prizes, there's a wheel you spin to get prizes as well. And those prizes are determined by your Berk level, like how much fish you can hold and things like that. You are limited to 5 lives at a time, and lives are spent whether you lose or win. And then lives recharge at 1 life for every 4 hours. So if you play all 5 of them, you have to wait 20 hours to have all 5 back, or you can use the 2 that charge at 8 hours, whatever you want to do. You can also buy lives, but as long as you time it right, you don't need to do that. You should have plenty of time to complete them. And gauntlets last for a certain period of days. So they'll be open for anywhere from 2 to 6 days, depending on the type of gauntlet. So gauntlets have 3 to 15 nodes or rounds. I call them nodes, but that's a weird word, so maybe rounds. And then each round has anywhere from 1 to 6 waves, meaning within that round, you'll have successive waves. So depending on the type of gauntlet, you need to strategize using protector dragons to heal you along the way so you survive all of those waves. So the first kind I'm going to talk about are drills. These only have 5 rounds, so you can actually do them one and done when they're available. These are usually a little easier. They have 1 to 3 waves, usually 1 to 2 waves per round, and they're usually pretty easy, and because of that, they have smaller prizes. And these usually only last 2 days. Paid subscribers have a 2-day head start, but otherwise they last 2 days. Then we have incidents. These are a little harder. They have 10 nodes. They may only have 1 or 2 dragons per wave, but they will have higher health. Like it's weird. They have like more health per dragon, so they are a little harder than the drills, and they usually have harder opponents, but that means they have better prizes. And incidences usually run 3 or 4 days. And then crises, which is the plural of crisis. These have 15 rounds or 15 nodes, and each round is usually harder. They're not like the incidences where they have like high levels of health. But you usually have more like 2 to 3 waves per round instead of sometimes 1 wave like you'll get with drills or incidences. And these are harder opponents. They require a bit more strategies, but these usually have the really good prizes. And finally, we have survivals. Survivals are weird. You have 3 rounds, and then each round has 6 waves. It will be the same opponents for each wave, and they'll start off really easy, and then by the wave 6, they're pretty hard. And so they do require strategy. You basically have to rely on your healing dragons and heal often. It really kind of sucks, but that's how it works. But they usually have pretty good prizes, about the same level of valuableness as the prizes in crises. But they can be pretty difficult. They are doable as an early player. You just have to go in with basically an all protector team or mostly protector and one furious and just heal a lot. But you can do it. Okay, I'm adding this in from the editing floor. I forgot to include class-based gauntlets. So these happen about once a month. They do follow the same rough structure as drills, so they have 5 nodes, etc. But they are entirely based on one class. So the opponent dragons will be almost entirely from one class, and you are supposed to design your team as whatever class is stronger than that. So for a Furious versus Protector gauntlet, you're supposed to use Furious dragons. For Protector versus Cunning, you're supposed to use Protectors, so on and so forth. However, these teams may not always be ideal. I think they are generally the best, but for example, versus Cunning dragons, it wouldn't hurt to throw a Furious dragon or two into your team because they are opposite the wheel from each other, so they're actually neutral. So he's not weak. Like, a Furious is not weak against a Cunning. It is neutral, and it is nice to have some of the AoE dragons from a Furious, like a Champion Whipslash or the Defender Thunderdrum, those kinds of dragons to get kind of some firepower in there. Then when you are going against Swifties, avoid Furious at all cost. Even though Furious are strong, they are weakest against Swifties, and Swifties will actually kill the Furious pretty quickly. So despite expectations, because Swifties being a weak class and Furious being a strong class, that does not make it better. So definitely avoid the weaker class in all of these class gauntlets, but when you have Swifties, it might be helpful to, might be not a bad idea to have a Protector. I mean, they work as well too, they're just not as strong. But if you want a better healer, because the only healer you have with the Cunning dragons is Stormcutter, so it might not be a bad idea to have one healer just to keep your team going, but you don't always need to heal as much during this type of gauntlet. And then when it's Swift versus Furious, you definitely do want a Swift team, but you need a healer in case the Furious do get your health down, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a healing Cunning or a healing Swift. If you've been playing long enough, we did have a Cloud Jumper event this year, and he is a great healing Swiftie. Otherwise, we need more healing Swifties. But yes, so generally in these class-based gauntlets, you do want to follow these rules for picking your dragons. I do have some old videos on gauntlets. I do want to make more Brawl and Gauntlet strategy videos. The strategies are slightly different because in gauntlets you can also use Sage Fruit to heal, an Action Rush to give you more points. So the strategies are a little different and you have to get through waves. So people tend to use different teams in Brawl than they use in Gauntlet. And you'll just kind of figure that out what you like, but again, I'll be making more videos, so keep your eyes peeled. Alright, and before I let you go, save your support key because data loss does happen. Support key is the heart of your game and how Ludia will restore your game. There is no manual save, so please be careful switching between devices. Data loss does happen. Contact dragons@ludia.com for big technical issues. We might be able to help you with some small troubleshooting issues on Discord. Connect to Cloud Save if you can, Facebook, Apple, or Google, and keep your dragons the same grade in Brawl. Thanks for watching. This is Genevieve Plays Rise of Berk, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys!